Is it jig time? I know based on experience that the first thing I can do with visual indications, of course, is I'm not going to a rig right off the bat. I'm going to start with a jig. Why? Because if you fished before blackfish and used a jig, it's probably the most fun thing to do in the entire fishing world, fishing jigs for blackfish. But there are times where you can't use it. You have to know the difference between tide and current. I fish with a guy, they go, oh yeah, the tide is screaming. The tide is not screaming. The tide could be outgoing, and the tide could be, or the current underneath could be running the other way. So in other words, an outgoing tide generally is going south, southeast, and all of a sudden you'll hear captains on the radio over, we're screaming south current, and it's running along the beach going north. How this happens, I don't know, but it does. So you have to know the difference between the tide and the current. And what'll happen is if you're using a lighter jig, you think the tide is not that bad. I mean, a full moon tide, we all know, is a little stronger than a standard tide. You'll drop the jig down or you'll cast it up and all of a sudden it's 40 feet behind the boat. That's generally a current issue.